Look, this is a conversation that people love having. It's lighthearted. It's not controversial whatsoever. And of course, I'm talking about abortions. When have you ever seen people argue about abortions? When have you ever seen fighting? But it's a lighthearted topic. Obviously, I kid here, but I'm going to say something actually super controversial. I don't care what you guys say. All right, I don't know how to say this. Men can't have babies.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
No.
You're, as a birthing person, yourself.
Mother.
As a mother.
Yeah.
Is that the term these days?
There you go.
That's
my
what they're
term,
known as
yeah.
these days?
Yeah.
Because growing up, these were always known as birthing people. Okay. As a mother.
Who do you have today?
PBD is in the house. Come on, PBD.
Hey, come.
PBD, guys, speaking of birthing, speaking of birthing people.
What's going on?
Hello, hello.
PBD, you remember Olivia?
Yes.
Yes.
Sarah, you know Clarissa. She's married to our friend Leo. PBD, I just want to get your take on this.
Tell us.
Can men have babies?
Can men have babies?
Yes.
Absolutely not. Is this like a trick question? Or?
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this, man.
Oh, really?
I know tons of men that are having babies these
Well,
days.
your friends. My friends, no. My friends are not having babies.
No.
Anyways, that was easy.
Thank you for being here. That was a layup question. Thank you, PBD.
Love this setup.
Me
Thank
too.
you. Well, listen, guys. I don't know who that guy is. I think he just strolled in off the
Man,
street.
he's a
that's a man.
CEO, father, yes.
He's a cis man.
He's a real man.
He's a cis
a
man.
real man, yes.
Well, shout out to that cis man. I've never seen him before in my life, but he seems like a great guy, and thank him for popping in on the podcast. But again, as I was saying, only women can have babies.
Yes.
And there's a lot of conversations, arguments, especially these days, election season, on the abortion. And in 2022, there was the midterm elections, and there was supposed to be a red wave. Now, if you don't follow politics, a red wave is like, Joe Biden's in the office, all right, the Republicans are going to come in, they're going to show him, no, we're not playing this game, all right. And right before the election, right before that, there was something called the Dobbs decision, where they reversed the law of the land of the Supreme Court, Roe versus Wade, which is the law of the land since 1973. They reversed that. They turned it over to the states, and the red wave turned into a red teardrop because it did nothing. And what we basically realized as a country is, these women aren't playing with telling them what they can do or can't do with their body. Women aren't playing this game, okay? And the Democrats, have sort of done better at weathering the abortion stance than Republicans. I don't think that's a controversial stance. But I want you to get your guys' thoughts on this. Now, France has now officially become the world's first country to enshrine abortion rights into their constitution. So abortion, officially legal in France. I think it was legal. France legalized abortion in 1975. The new amendment states that abortion is now a guaranteed right in France. The French Parliament voted 780 to 72 in favor of the amendment. There was one dissenter, not necessarily in France, but the Catholic Church weighed in, and they were one of the major groups that said, they opposed this amendment. We know how the Catholic Church feels about that. But which brings us back to America. By the way, has anyone ever been to France here?
Yes.
I'm from Paris.
Okay.
It's
That's
probably the only thing I'm proud of France right now is that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, comment allez-vous? Okay. That's all I got. Okay. So, a lot of change since 1973 in America. Let's focus on America because we are here in America. Roe versus Wade was overturned. See if you can pull up the map of the United States of what states have legalized abortion or banned it. I don't know if you can it go? Okay. So states can, like if you scroll down a little bit, I think it says certain states are, here we go. Does it say what states have banned them, what states haven't? What is the red? I guess just give me the different colors.
The red,
Okay.
The red is
hostile, the dark red is illegal,
illegal, yeah.
orange is not protected, yellow is protected,
Okay.
and then expanded access is the blue.
Okay, so the states that basically are like, look, do your abortion thing are obviously the left coast.
Yes.
California, Washington, Oregon over there. You got Minnesota up top, that's the hat. Then you have Illinois, You got New York over there. If I asked Nat to
I was
pick
gonna
out
say,
any of the
don't
states
ask
here,
me. Don't ask
she
me
could
what
not
state.
do this. Go back up to the colors. What are the yellow states?
Protected.
Yellow is.
Yellow is protected, so Florida.
Yeah. What is? Okay, those are the protected. So that's Nevada. Is that Montana?
Montana
You
at the
got
top.
Colorado over there. You got Maine.
said
You
you
got
were a
Florida down
teacher.
here.
There you go.
I know the states.
Yeah.
I know. You got Michigan. Look, I got the states. You got Alaska. This is my thing.
Not me.
Malik, scroll up a little bit so I can see the different colors of the. Okay. Then you get not protected in orange. Nat, for $1 million, what's
Stop
the
it.
bottom left state in orange? For $1 million.
Bottom left. Oof. Move the mouse.
No. $1 million now.
$1 million.
Yeah.
You got $1 million?
Come on.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know.
If she looks at her phone, it's over. I'll give you a hint. The country right below it is the old version of it.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
The old
me
version.
too.
No, guys.
I want $1 million. Me too.
Nat, the country below that in orange is the old version. If anyone helps her out, they lose $1 million.
Oh my God.
It's the old version of that one.
The old version.
3,
New Mexico.
2, 1.
Yeah.
Oh, New Mexico.
Just like a joke.
Yeah, what country is below the United States? Wow.
Putting my million
Okay. Anyway, go up a little bit.
a bill.
You guys cheated. Hostile. What is the hostile states? You got
North Carolina, South Carolina.
North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. You've got Arizona, Utah. A handful of states over there. And what states are completely illegal to have an abortion in the United States? You got
That's
the Bible
crazy.
Belt, yo. You got the Bible
But
Belt. You
it's
got
after,
Alabama.
it's after a certain period,
Yeah.
correct?
After a certain period.
No.
Illegal completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
illegal.
The ones that are not protected
Illegal.
are the ones that there's a.
So there's a controversy here. So here's what I want to get your opinion on, ladies. We saw what France just did. In the United States, we have 50 states. That's the beautiful thing about the United States and capitalism. The foundation of capitalism is the freedom to choose. You got options. Yo, if you're out there in Mississippi, dude, I'm moving to fucking New York. All right, do your thing, ladies, because this is important to ladies.
Right.
Men don't really wake up every day and be like, my body, my choice. It's like, because despite popular demand, us dudes aren't having the kids. It's you ladies, okay? So I want to get your thoughts. Guys, let me get your thoughts on what should be legal, what shouldn't be legal, before I give you the actual stats and details. Sarah, where do you stand on this abortion issue?
I think I'm pro-choice. You should be able to choose whatever you want, need to do, and it depends on the circumstances. I don't think that at 8 months you should say, okay, I don't want this baby anymore. I think there definitely should be a time limit. That's
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. What's the time limit?
I don't know.
Is it
I
6
think
weeks?
it's
Is it
different
10
for
weeks? Is
everyone.
it 15
I think
weeks?
it's
Is it
different
40
for,
weeks?
I
Give
think
me
it's
a-
different for everyone. Honestly, I'm not like, those moms that come up to you like, oh, they're 23 weeks. I'm like, how long is that?
You're like, I gotta divide the two, carry the
You know what I
five.
mean?
What's
So like,
happening right now?
I don't know. I think like I'd have to dig deeper, but on a personal level, I think it's like, can you provide for this child under what circumstances? Is it like, if you missed your period, you should know you missed your period after 4 weeks. Like you should be on a, like
Is
you
that
should
a
know.
thing? Do you guys all win?
Yeah, like
You
there's
guys all
warning
agree?
now. There's
It's
no
a warning
excuse. So
sign.
don't tell me at like 15 weeks
Okay.
that, oh, I didn't know I was pregnant. So that's like 3 months of missing.
I
your period.
actually
You know
learned
you're
something
pregnant.
recently. This was pretty. I learned. This is going to be kind of controversial as well, but men don't menstruate. We don't have periods. So we're not. I know that in certain countries, Canada, and certain places, they're putting tampons in boys' bathrooms.
No,
I don't know.
they're not.
With
Yes,
Michael,
they are.
That's a thing
They
now.
are. Of
And the
course
boys.
they are.
But to put
what's
it
a-
where?
To what?
In the
Up their nose for
And
no
the boy,
reason.
exactly.
That's what I
If you're-
said. I was like,
If you're a
just for the-
12-year-old boy and you go into a boy's bathroom, there's a tampon. You're like, you're gonna throw it at each other. You're gonna put it up. You're like, you know what's going on
But
here.
why are they doing that?
Thank you, Sarah. That's the question everyone wants to know. So, but you asked an important question.
Going in the men's bathroom.
But they're not getting their periods. Or
Well,
are they?
here,
still might be.
obvious. So if there is a woman who identifies as a man, she's able to use that bathroom. But what if she's bleeding still?
Yeah, so if a
Therefore,
woman-
when she goes into the men's bathroom, they need to be able to
Oh, I
compensate.
see. So it's for the women
her.
that are
Yeah.
transitioning.
It's the trans men that they're compensating for.
So you're making the vast majority of children, adolescents,
so confusing.
sort of
Exposed.
be exposed to whatever this lunacy is to help the 1 or 2 trans
Right.
people.
Individuals.
Maybe they just give a separate bathroom. They don't put this into the boys'
bring
bathroom.
your own tampon.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
if you're
what I'm
that worried
saying. Like,
about it,
why?
geez,
Yeah.
come on.
I don't-
Yeah, I carry a tampon everywhere I go.
Always.
Why do I need it in the
What's
boys'
that
bathroom?
movie where they use the
Right here.
tampon as for nosebleeds? The soccer movie.
She's the man.
She's the man. She's the man. She's
What
the
was the
man.
name of that movie again?
She's the man.
I'm sensing
Amanda,
something
but that's
here.
a great.
Well, that was
There we
really
go.
good programming
Yeah.
early on.
You see that?
That little thing. Olivia, where do you stand on this? Like at a certain
Yeah.
point, pro-choice, pro-life, how many weeks? What have you thought about this?
I've always been pro-choice. I probably always will be pro-choice. I think there's a lot of circumstances that come into play that I think maybe some of that map, just they feel so strongly on one side or the other. But, I think the health of the mother is something that people sometimes overlook. Like if there's something wrong and she's now at risk, like she should be able to make that decision potentially.
Okay.
I think that in, circumstances of rape and things of that nature, like you got to be able to be flexible. But I do agree with Sarah, like there has to be a point where you kind of, look at life itself and say like, hey, is this really necessary for me to abort at 8 months, or I can give this beautiful baby up for adoption to a family that really is dying to be parents. So I'm pro-adoption and pro-choice.
Okay. Clarissa, you're a mother. You have 3 kids. You're the old school type of mother, not a birthing person. Where do you stand on this abortion issue?
I am pro-choice to a very conservative degree. So with the weeks, I would say some of those states, I was doing a little research on this because I honestly had no clue on how deep this issue went in like periods of gestation. And like some of those states are very flexible. Like it seems almost inhumane to go full term with like 20, 24 weeks. You're 75% of the way there to have an abortion at that point in time.
And it's legal?
And it's legal, which
Many blue
was
states.
unfathomable to me. Like it doesn't make any sense, but that's just my opinion. So I'm pro-choice within that time frame. I feel that one has a responsibility to track your cycle to know how far along you are. Like if you're going to be having sex, then you should like you should have accountability as to like how far along you would be. So I would say anything past 10 to 12 weeks, even like because I've carried 3 pregnancies to term, 12 weeks is usually that moment in which you announce and let the world know, because anything before 12 weeks, sometimes your body decides that that's not what was gonna.
So if you could put a number on it, actually that's what I kind of want to get from you guys, because I'm going to give you the stats, but I want to give it to you first. If you could put a weeks as pro.
I would say 12 weeks, which I mean is actually like
10 to and that's giving
that's like
space.
almost 3 months.
Yeah, it's almost 3 months.
It's
Right?
3
I
months.
mean,
Yeah.
and that's
There's a
that's the-
heartbeat by 3 months.
Yeah, I think 8 weeks,
8 weeks,
is
so-
heartbeat.
What if you can give a weeks to it?
I really wouldn't give a weeks to it.
Nothing?
No.
It also depends on the circumstances.
I think
Yeah.
there's too many circumstances
That's right,
to give
yeah.
a firm number.
Amy, I know you probably have a different opinion on this. Where do you stand on this?
Yeah, it just all sounds so like fluffy and whimsical, and it all sounds like justification to make yourself feel better about something that is obviously murder. And everyone has this like magical week. Oh, it'd be fine if it was
Right.
this amount of weeks, or be fine under this circumstances. But to me, there's nothing can justify the fact that it is still murder. It's still
Okay.
murder of a life. And to quote Lauren Pedriner, I think, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. As soon as something happens and life intersect to create something new, that is the conception point. That is sentience. That is life. And anything to get in the way of that is murder,
So,
in my
Amy,
personal
But
opinion.
I think the joy on this is that
Yeah.
that's your choice.
Right.
And like I
Right.
would support you
Right.
on that too, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
So I think like I have a broad respect for that opinion, because that's
Yeah, me too.
that's every way somebody could feel.
Yeah,
and
because you
then-
don't see it as murder. So, of course, why would you have a bad opinion on someone else having a contrary opinion? But for somebody who's pro-choice, if they actually see it as murder, even if I like you ladies and think you're wonderful in every single other way, if I genuinely hold that opinion,
Yeah.
then I'm going to feel a way about you saying that, because that just comes down to my fundamental beliefs about
for
human life.
being pro-life, where do you draw the line? What exceptions would you allow?
So this is actually really interesting. I forget the name of the content creator. I think it's like Ali something, not Ali Drummond, a different girl. I believe her name is Ali. But so she put out a video where she actually talked about this case where a woman really wanted to get an abortion because they found that the baby was going to be born with deformities, and where she was living, they weren't actually able to facilitate that. They said you need to carry it to term. Et cetera, et cetera. They were willing to pull her out of the state and do these various things, but basically she had to go through with it. And when I started watching the video, I was still kind of a little bit of the opinion that, like, okay, so if there's going to be extreme mental disabilities, if there's going to be an incidence where maybe, I definitely don't think financial should ever be considered. Do you know the amount of people who started at nothing and made it to something in this life? Imagine had their life been taken. I actually grew up in a very traditional Hungarian family, 100% Hungarian on my grandparents' side. My mom got pregnant out of wedlock. My grandparents wanted me to be aborted. Like, thank God that I'm literally still here today. So I don't think tradition, or I don't think that financial should ever determine that. Health was something where I was like, maybe. But the way this woman explained it in this video was so incredible, where she was like, listen, there is no such thing as a wishy-washy pro-life. You're either pro-life or not. That is a baby, and that baby deserves, if it's gonna die, to die with dignity and respect in the arms of its mother. And I literally started bawling my eyes out. Like, I felt that. That is still a sentient life. And they still deserve that dignity and respect. So I'd say I'm pro-life 100% of the way, under
here's where I have to give you some
circumstances.
pushback here. Okay, so I think you have to make some exceptions. You have to. Life of the mother, rape, incest. You expect a woman who was raped by her uncle or the father, or the brother,
carry it to
something
term,
insane, to have that baby? Like, how do you justify that?
It's a really slippery slope. Rape, I would still say, personally, I still feel like, how can you weigh one sin over the other? One is rape. The other one is murder. Like, here's the thing. It depends on whether you see it as murder. I see that as murder of a life, regardless. So it's like, what pedestal are we going to put that on? You may be able to justify that logically, because it must not mean in your heart you believe that abortion is murder. When you genuinely believe that, there isn't any circumstance. It would be like saying, okay, Adam, would you rather this person be raped or I slit this person's throat? If they were right in front of you, you can literally see it happen, and you needed to be the judge and jury of that decision, would you be able to make that choice? So people who genuinely believe that abortion is murder, they're not going to waver on that.
Do you think your decision would change if you were in that situation?
And here's the thing, you can always talk like ideologically, but you never truly know until you're actually in that circumstance.
Exactly.
So maybe I'm a hypocrite, and maybe maybe if I found myself in their situation, then maybe my emotions would get the better of me and it would change. And that's why I would never hate somebody for it, but I would condemn their choice, And until I'm actually in that position, I wouldn't know. I can only go off my moral basis and foundation and how I deeply feel about it right now, as you're asking me the question.
Now, is this a religious reasoning, or is this more of a moral reasoning
Moralistic
for you?
and religious,
Okay.
absolutely, 100%. I'm definitely a Christian. I'm definitely, so very much plays into it. But for me, it's very much moralistic.
Okay,
as well.
I'm gonna give you some stats in a second, but Nat, where do you stand on this issue?
So believe it or not, I grew up in a Catholic household. I went to church, and I'm a pro-life. I grew up knowing that, like, if you're pregnant, you have your baby, and that's just the way it is, and God, this is the situation. And so growing up with kind of that mindset is kind of also like a warning sign, even with how I navigate in the world. It's like, okay, Natalia, if you make certain decisions, right? If this is gonna happen, you've been raised that this is the baby that you're gonna have. So I'm pro, life, because that's what I grew up as. Now, I can't say if I was raped by my uncle or I got pregnant, in a disastrous experience, that I wouldn't maybe consider it. As a woman and in real world situations, you consider all your options when they're provided to you when you're in those terrible situations. Now, I like to make sure that I keep to my morals and what I grew up as, because at the end of the day, that's what you should do. It is murder. You are killing a life, no matter what amount of weeks it is. And situations are very, very sad to even see some of the women even go through when they have these kids out of, rape and these disaster situations. But you never really know what the kid's life really is going to look like. And that's essentially when everyone's born. You never really know. You could be raised in a rich household and you grow up as a crackhead on the street.
So true.
So you really never know. But I like to tell myself, Natalia, you are pro-life. Live your life in that mindset so you don't make, decisions to end up where you kind of go against how you were raised. But at the end of the day, I've had close friends have abortions, and I was their friend to comfort them. I was their friend to, it's okay, when they came out, and it was that it's a process. I don't know if you've experienced that, you've seen someone have an abortion, like it's a mental process, a physical process. Like when they have nobody, what am I supposed to do? You know, just leave my brother and sister and let, you know,
So
God
you're
says
morally
protect your-
correct, you know?
Yes.
In
So-
that way too.
Yes, you know, God, everyone's brother and sister, so I'm not gonna leave you and let you suffer. I'm gonna help you, and then hopefully as you go through this together, you kind of, your mindset gets a little bit more strong in decisions.
Thank you. I
really good
appreciate
point.
that. So, look, this is the reason that we have these types of discussions. Not any one of you had the exact same answer. This is important, but I think that, you know, these are the conversations that need to be had. These are the conversations that are going to be had during the election, no doubt. DeSantis had came out in Florida, gave a 6-week ban, 6 weeks. Trump, I don't know that he's come out with anything official, but he's leaning towards 16 weeks. Okay, so that's what's going on. We'll see what happens where his platform is, assuming that he is going to be the candidate. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If you like that one, click right here to watch the full SOSCAST. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.